10 years ago, I started in property with 33 grand in debt. And fast forward to today, I've got a 20 million pound portfolio, did 10.8 million last year, and it's all down to one strategy, and that is called deal sourcing. It's one of the smartest, leanest, quickest, and risk-free ways of making money in property today. And I'm gonna show you exactly how you can get involved. So if you've been wondering how to get into property investment, having to pay chunky deposits up front, this is your video. Let's get into deal sourcing 101. So first of all, what is it? What is deal sourcing? Deal sourcing is when you're matching an amazing property opportunity with an investor that wants to buy. And typically this could be because it's below market value, high yielding, could have good development potential. And instead of buying it yourself, you package it on and sell it on to an investor for a fee. And typically this will be anything between £5,000 and £10,000 per property. I just want to clarify, you are not buying the property, you are just monetizing on it. I'll go through how in a moment. You're basically acting as a middle person. You do the groundwork, the research, the phone calls, the negotiation, go through the rejections, and then eventually you get the deal and you hand it over to somebody else and they buy it. And they pay you a good fee. Now, why would somebody pay for that? You need to realize, like, people go, well, why wouldn't they just go on Rightmove and find it? It's like, well, just because it's on Rightmove and there's loads of property there doesn't make it a good deal. What makes the good street, the good property, and what makes a great investment a great investment? Maybe you're watching, well, I don't know either. Well, that's the point of this video. But serious investors, they don't have the knowledge a lot of the time, and they certainly don't have the time to invest. You have to bear in mind, most investors, they've not got like £10 million in the bank or anything like that. A majority of them, they are executives, accountants, doctors, dentists, lawyers, people that have learned how to make money and manage money well enough to save, but that doesn't mean they know how to multiply, and it certainly doesn't mean that they have the time to do it. All right, so they do have the money. So if you can find them a strong, well-vetted investment opportunity, many people will be happy to pay you a fee. In last year, 2025, last year was 2024, wasn't it? Last year we did 196 properties, and that's just one company doing this for other people. So there are thousands. In fact, if you really want to know, there's 2.5 million investors in the UK. Many of which need help from people like you every single day. So I really like this because it's a genuine way into the property world without needing massive deposits. You don't need huge mortgage experience, and you don't need your name on the title. You don't need the tenants, you don't need the headache. So what you do is you learn the game from inside out. You build relationships with investors, agents, builders, etc., and you get hands-on experience finding profitable deals. So understanding numbers, really important, and managing property potential without owning it is absolutely key. The thing I love as well, it's also flexible. So I do have an office, but ultimately a key part of this strategy is you could do it from anywhere in the world. So I could be on a beach, if that's really your thing. It's definitely not mine. My skin will react like hell. But you can do it from anywhere in the world as long as you have a digital access. And what I mean by that is a laptop, a phone, and an access to an internet connection. You can fit it around your job as well. Most of my mentees are doing it in 10 hours a week, and people really forget this. They think that I must be full-time and all of that. Honestly, in your first year, 10 to 15 hours is absolutely plenty. And by the way, you don't need to suddenly quit your job overnight. Maybe when you're making 10 grand a month, you might go, I'm going down to 2 days a week or 3 days a week. So you scale it back as you're going. So let's say you're sourcing one deal per month and you charge 5 grand. All right, which is fairly standard, if I'm honest. That's £60,000 a year. Now, is that life-changing? I don't know. I think what is life-changing, but I think it's not bad for your first year, and I think many of you watching this will probably be able to quit your jobs on that basis. So let's say you build a network of repeat investors. You get better at finding deals faster. Maybe you start sourcing 2, maybe 3 deals a month, and now you're making 6 figures, over £100,000 a year. If you say we're doing 3 a month at 5k each, that's 15 grand a month, that's 180,000 a year. You are in the top 0.5% of the UK and definitely to the top 0.1% of the world. That is an insane amount of money, and that's just from connecting with the right people with the right properties. So let's be realistic. You can't just go out and start flogging deals, right? You can't just go out and go, hey, give me the deals. And by the way, I can hear it already. Why would somebody sell their property to me? Why would somebody invest in me? Well, this is what it's all about. But let's start with getting it done legally. I'm just going to list these off, and I've actually done a full video breaking down the legalities. But you need anti-money laundering, professional indemnity insurance, data protection with the ICO, the Information Commissioner's Office, a proper heads of business, and a reservation form. On top of that, you want to be part of some form of redress scheme. The two most common are PRS, the Property Redress Scheme, and the Property Ombudsman, also known as the TPO. I prefer the TPO personally. And that's everything you need. Now, ultimately, if you're serious about this, you need to get some education. You have to realize that if you're going to build a property business, you need to invest in yourself. And yes, I've got an education company, but it doesn't need to be with me. If you want to have a chat about mine, you can just put education in the comments and we can have a one-to-one chat. I'll send you a link. You can book that in. But invest in your education. Now, I'm not saying you need to be a property guru here, by the way, but you do need to be great at research. You need to be great at analysis and analyzing deals. You need to be a solid communicator. You need to be organized and detail focused. You need to be tenacious. You know, deals you don't just go, all right, that's it. I'm going to close my eyes. I've had the mindset training. You open up and I am a millionaire. I invite deals into my lap. No, it doesn't work like that. Yeah, the law of attraction isn't something you hum, all right? You need to actually go out and take the action and bring them in. Now, if you've got these people skills, a decent phone manner, and a bit of hustle, you're off to a flying start. Now, I do want to be honest with you. You don't need to be a master closer or a great salesperson. People get nervous about selling because they're like, oh my God, it just comes across cringy. You're just having a conversation. So let me take you through step by step sourcing a property. Remember, you're not buying the property, you're not swinging a hammer, you're not laying carpets, you're simply finding a great deal and connecting them with the right investors and charging a fee for your work. That is what deal sourcing is. So let's say you live near me. We're in Leeds right now filming this in Horsforth, and you've decided to give this a proper go. First things first, you need investors. So here's what I'm going to do. I might do a YouTube video aimed at my target audience. I might do a Facebook ad. I need to do something to put some marketing out there to attract them. Now, you could target these individuals. You could go offline, go to some networking events, etc. But also, I really like going online. The reason I like going online is I don't like meeting human beings face to face. No, I'm joking, or am I? Anyway, I like going online and actually attracting these people. And how do I choose to attract them? Well, I like producing content, solving the problems of the pain points that I think my target audience will have. So, for example, I think people like you might want to get educated at some point. So what will I do? I'll create an educational video that you end up clicking on. So then what happens is when you've got your marketing out there, which by the way doesn't need to be YouTube, if you've got the face for a radio or you're just really nervous on camera, that's great. I'm useless at writing, for example. So me doing YouTube videos works well for me because I can just blah and get something out and hopefully it is of some value to you. But if you ask me to type this up, I'd be bloody useless. So choose a platform that works for you, market and attract. Remember, you're not selling anything yet. You're just building value and building a list of potentially interested investors. Now, once you've got a few serious contact, now it's time to sort of qualify them. So what I typically do is I'll do a call to action from a YouTube video. Like I've said to you, put education, and then I'll have a conversation. And that conversation, do not pitch them. You're just adding value. How can I help you value? Where are you at? Where do you want to get to? And if at the end of that phone call of adding loads of value, you go, do you know what? Actually, it makes sense us working together. Then you put forward your proposal. And some will say no, and some will say yes. And by the way, more will say no than yes. Because a lot of people, even if they are perfect for you, aren't willing to put their hands in their pockets because they are talkers rather than walkers, all right? And we want to get that right. So now we've got it, we want to go out there and find the properties. Rightmove, Zoopla, auctions, off-market, Facebook ads, putting yourself out there so you become the person in the area that somebody who wants to sell their property quickly, they come to you. And you start booking conversations. Now, I am not big on booking viewings, so I'm going to go against the trend here, and I'm going to say this. Viewings do not make you money. Viewings do not make you money. I'm sorry. People out there going, go and get your viewings in, get your reps in, all of that. I understand getting the reps in, but you're doing the wrong reps. You're doing the wrong exercise if you want to build your biceps. So we want money in the bank. Think about this logically. The average person in our industry does 20 viewings, goes to 20, offers on whatever it is, gets rejected on 19 and gets one property. Now, that's fine, not too bad. But then you go, average viewing takes 2.5 hours. You've got the time going there, the time during, the time after, right? That just seems like a massive waste of time. Instead, what I like doing is doing a quick analysis on 20, and then I'll submit 20 offers based on the photos and videos subject to satisfactory viewing. And yes, there's a way to do it, but you absolutely can do it. Now, is it going to be perfect looking at photos and videos to price up a refurbishment? No, but it's good enough that if I look at it and it clearly needs a new carpet, a new kitchen, a new bathroom, and everything in between, that I'll be able to price it up within a couple of grand. Then out of those 20, it might only be worth viewing 5. And then I go to 5. I then resubmit my offer based on inspection, and then I'll be left with 1 or 2. It is way more efficient. I promise you, you want to re-watch that a few times. Go back and watch that last 30 seconds again and again. It will save you hundreds of thousands of pounds. For example, last year we did 196 deals for our investors, and we only viewed around 210. Let's make sure we're getting it right. So you go to view it, take photos, ask questions, run your numbers, compare local sales, estimate the refurb cost, work out the end values, the rental yields, and the exit strategies. Does the deal make sense? If it doesn't, you negotiate. Here's the thing. Okay, every deal makes sense at the right number, so you've got to get that in negotiation. Understand the vendor's motivation. Is it inheritance? Maybe it's divorce. Maybe it's they've run out of money. Maybe they're moving abroad. Maybe whatever it is, all right? And there are set ways, and we call it the disrupt model, so you can just print screen the main reasons why somebody sells. So you shake hands with the agent and you get it tied up. So now you're holding a deal that's worth something to the right investor. Because you've now got your investors, you now put together your investor pack. So all I really want is a shop window. We are not giving them the down and dirty, nitty gritty analysis that is boring as hell. We want a one-page snapshot. This is how much money you need. If you put in this money, this is how much you will make over the next 10 years. That's exciting. Comparables, photos, the deep dive numbers come on the second and third page. If they then say yes, you then break down the refurb further, all right? So you give them a refurb plan or a scope of works. Then we give them the predicted yield or profit. It's just clean, professionals. We send it out, we have the conversation. Leads, flip opportunity. Maybe it's got a discount on it. Strong margin, 9% yield, £5,000 fee. And then hopefully the investor says yes. All right, but you have these conversations. So we've now found the investor, we found the property, we've presented the property to the investor, and now you send your heads of terms. So the heads of terms will be something like a reservation fee, and we will get paid this up front. I'm going to say this again. We get paid this up front. We're not doing this whole pay me on exchange thing. We want to get paid now. We're giving them a great opportunity. Obviously, if the deal falls through, then you have a conversation. And then the hard work begins. On the one side, you've got the vendor solicitor. On the other side, you've got the investor solicitor. The key thing is that that vendor needs to get their client care pack, fixtures and fittings and everything else to their solicitor as soon as possible. That's the thing you need to put pressure on. And the reason for that is the vendor solicitor cannot send over the contract pack to the investor's solicitor until all of that's in. And the investor solicitor can't start raising inquiries, which are the legal questions they need to ask, and they cannot start the searches, which take about 4 to 5 weeks, until they've received that. So, a couple of things you want to do is, number one, put pressure on the vendor to get shit over quickly, get their solicitor to get it over to the buyer solicitor quickly, and instruct the investor to instruct their solicitor to raise inquiries and pay for searches immediately. A lot of information in 30 seconds, but I promise you it will save you between 2 and 4 weeks of the legal process. Also, get the mortgage broker on it and instruct the survey as soon as possible. Mortgages really can be done in 6 to 8 weeks. It's just that everyone waits around, so you need to light a fire up people's asses to get it in early doors, all right? Now, you use your time, your knowledge, and your effort to execute on this, and you get paid again and again. The only other thing you need to decide on, I'll get pushback on this, is when you get paid. There are a lot of people in our industry that wait until the property is exchanged to end up getting paid. For me, I like being paid up front. And I'm telling you right now, I've seen it again and again with my mentees because they go, why would anyone pay me up front? With the right framework, the right model, the right script, you will get paid up front. So before we sign off, how do we execute on this? Well, step one, learn the basics, watch videos like this, read books, and then make sure you actually invest in yourself. Honestly, it's absolutely delusional for you to think you can just watch YouTube, you can read some books, and suddenly you're going to be successful. You need to understand your numbers, your yields, your ROI, your refurb costs, your schedule of works, your comparables, your compliance routes, everything else. So please get educated. And I don't give a shit if it's with us. I really don't. If you've got to this point and you're like, I really like this guy, then great. Put education in the comments. I'll send you a link and you can book in a one-to-one call. We can have a chat. If I'm not for you, you're probably not watching right now, and I imagine you've moved on to somebody else. But if I'm not for you, that's great. You know, align with somebody where you're like, do you know what, this is somebody I can align with, and go and find them, have a chat with them, get on the phone with their teams and see if you can work together. Once you've then got educated, you start building that investor list after getting compliant, of course. Go to the events. Don't go to property events looking for investors. There's a final little tip there. Stupid thing to be doing. Go to LinkedIn, find Facebook groups, get some ads out, start hunting for these people, converting them, having the conversations of getting the lead in, booking an appointment, put forward your proposal and get this out. Then you start the property search through Rightmove, Zoopla, Gumtree, auction sites, call agents, drive around local areas, bandit boards, leaflets, Facebook ads. There's about 26 ways of effectively attracting these people. And then once we've got them, we package it together, get paid for it from the investor, and then take it through legals. And you rinse and repeat. Now, this might sound like a lot of effort, and it is. It's not easy, but it is simple. There is a simple process. And if you keep at this, you're not going to quit your job in 30 days, despite what the gurus out there say. But you can get 6 figures within 12 months. That's £100,000, 12 months from today, but only if you're serious and only if you take the action. Because ultimately, you just subscribe and this, which I want you to do. Subscribe, do all the stuff that you've not done. Take some bloody action today, even if it's not investing in yourself. At least subscribe to a channel that's got over 1,000 educational videos rather than going back to Netflix. But if you're serious and ready to take the action, then I want to help you achieve that 6 figures. And we know how to do it again and again. And if this is you, put education in the comments. We'll send you a link. You can book in a call. Otherwise, we'll put the link back there. You can fill in your own details. And I'll look forward to making your dreams a reality.